Welcome back to International Finance. I am Andy Kim, your Dr. Finance. Today we are going to cover Chapter 16 of Un Resnick and Chulun, which is about international M&As and foreign direct investment, FDIs. By nature, cross-border M&As are most attention-drawing and the most exciting ones. So welcome here, right? And I know that many of you aspire to become best investment bankers in the world. And my aspiration, my dream is to educate future best investment banker of the world, right? So I, like you guys, and especially when you enjoy this class, right? And I hope I hope this will be helpful for your career as well. And then before I move on further, let me give you some comments or compliment about what you have done over the past 14 weeks, right? You know, SKKU is trying to synchronize their semester system to the US system, which means we are shrinking down the number of weeks from 16 to 15, right? Starting from this semester. And this is our first trial attempt to do it, right? And it's already 14th week. So you came a long way. Great job. And then, especially every week, you guys have been presenting your mini case as well as current issues, right? Keep up with the current issues. Not just because I give you final exam questions from the current issues, even by watching YouTube videos or during your, to solve my problems, but also it is, getting your job and then becoming successful bankers in the world is about applying your thoughts and concepts to the real world current issues, current events, right? If you turn blind eyes to those current issues, why are you in business school in the first place, right? You're not mathematician, you're not a philosopher or whatever. You are a business guy, okay? Business person. For that part, you have to be able to tackle those real world current issues. So always stay tuned. And then keep practicing your presentations either in English or Korean or other languages that you would like to learn in the long run, right? If you stop, right? If you shut your mouth and then become less vocal, right? Your presentation skill will decrease or worsen exponentially, right? Exponentially means like half times, half over a specific period of time, okay? Very fast, which means very fast, the communication skill decreases. So keep practicing, okay? So that's one thing I want to highlight. Anyway, so I have to move on. The current issues of international M&A. Take a look at this one. Delivery Hero, they announced, right? Last or about a year and a half ago, right? At the end of 2019, December, they announced that they will acquire 배달의 민족 in Korea. By the way, Delivery Hero is the #1 delivery company, delivery app in Germany, right? I don't know how to pronounce it in Delivery Hero in German language, but that's it. This is it. And that they will acquire Bamin from 우아한 형제들, 우아 brothers, for $4 billion US. That they will establish again a 50-50 joint venture with this 우아한 형제들. And this joint venture company will be set up in Singapore. And this turns out to be the historically largest deal size for ITC companies in Korea. Okay, this 4조 won or 5조 won kind of, right? Right. So, by the way, who advised this deal, right? Well, JP Morgan Korea. JP Morgan Korea. There is an M&A advisory function there, a big function, perhaps the most successful M&A advisory group in Korea. and then that is led by Mr. Young-gi Kim, my friend. And he delivered a guest speech to you guys. If you have taken the I-Core class last year, right? He came here and then he delivered some speech about suk.com, ssg.com, right? And he's an expert in this industry, e-commerce. And then there is a lot of things to learn from him, actually. The Young-gi Kim you see over here, right? He's a great guy, by the way, great friend of mine. And in many respects, he's extremely smart, by the way. But moreover, he's very, how do you say, very personable and approachable person, and then makes you feel comfortable for anybody. Like you see his atmosphere by his picture, right? And then he asked him, what do you do in your free time? And he was like, well, I just think about what could be some creative or what could be some good the M&A deals, right? Combinations, all possible combinations of businesses, companies A, company B, if they combine those functions together, wouldn't it be a good marriage of the companies so that they will be, be successful in the future? Or other companies, company C and company D, their divisions, right? If they combine somehow, wouldn't it be, cool? And he says he ponders upon this kind of possible M&A deals during his free time. Okay, you need some time to think about, stop and think, right, about what could be a great deal that you can create, right? And then when time comes and when you meet some people like CEOs or important wealthy persons or investors, propose that kind of ideas to those investors, potential investors or the company managers, right? And then they, may pay attention to you and then they may agree or maybe not, right? But if you carefully think and then devise those acquisition schemes, right? You can sell your ideas, right? And then that's another reason why your presentation skill really, really matters. I told you, when you send your resumes, it is your best sales tool so that you sell your skills and your human capital, right? That is directly related to this kind of sales skills and then presentation skills, right? By the way, he used to be a consultant at Boston Consulting, and that's another thing to learn, right? Becoming a successful banker. Well, you can come from everywhere, and then especially the strategy consulting job, right? It is really related to this mergers and acquisitions, right? So the fact that you get a job in strategic management or M&A, the strategic management consulting job, does not mean that you will never come to banking business, right? It is very interchangeable. The skills are very transferable, right? So and another thing is in the strategy you need marketing knowledge as well. And then so the fact that you get a job in marketing positions, perhaps in 3M or whatever companies, right, does not necessarily mean that you're saying goodbye, you are saying sayonara, bye bye to banking world at all, right? Those skills are transferable. So you should open your mind up to all kinds of possibilities in your career, right? I have to shut my mouth up and then move on to the next slide, by the way. Right, so that's one point I want to make. Well, after the announcement of Delivery Hero, it was not the end, because all those M&A announcements is just the beginning, okay? They have to get approved by the, FTC Fair Trade Commissions of the country. Because the government, fair trade, right? They want to avoid the situation of potential monopoly in those industries, right? And then, according to one statistics over here, Delivery Hero, they already had acquired Yogiyo and then Baedaltong, which were the major competitors in this market with Baemin, right? So that when they are approved to acquire Baemin, then their aggregate market share in this industry could become more than 90%, which means virtual monopoly, right? So you may have think that, oh man, the M&A advisors or these lawyers, wouldn't they have thought about this situation and shouldn't have been more careful than this or things like that? But there is a room for debate about how you define the delivery service, right? And then if you consider all individual deliverers and the small and medium-sized ones, even more, I mean, small guys, right? Then the market share definition will change so that there was a room for a debate. That is perhaps why they pushed on this deal, right? And then so that even if they aggregate all these market shares, they will not become as big as 90% or something like that. So that was one reason they just pushed on it, I guess. And then they waited until the middle or later part of the year. And then eventually, 공정거래위원회, right? Fair Trade Commission of Korea, 조성욱 교수님, she's a finance professor at Seoul National University. And then she announced that, it's a conditional approval, okay? If you want to acquire Baemin, then spin off Yogiyo, so that Yogiyo will be competitor against your Delivery Hero group instead of being under the same roof, right? So this is the way they had to go through, okay? They're in the process until now. Anyway, so very interesting development has been going on inside Korea. And then the legal consideration is non-trivial issue. And many of you, I understand, want to go to law school. I know, that's great. And the biggest dollar box for the lawyers is perhaps the M&A advisory, right? And then the thing is, it will be ideal for you if you first get a work experience in this kind of M&A advisory or real world investment banks or private equity first for about 3 years or something, okay? And then get to know, what the business is like and then where the legal knowledge is being used, and then go to the law school, right? Then during your law study, you will have a much better idea about where those knowledges are being used. And then you will be clear about your goal so that you will be much more purpose driven. Instead, if you just first directly go to the law school, then you will be happy simply because you are in a very good law school. But every now and then you will be shaken about how sure you are about being a lawyer. Okay, in what part of the law, which part of the life would you apply your legal knowledge? You have no idea about it. So that's a drawback. And then this is, the former, getting work experience for a couple of years first and then move on to the law school. That's typical American law school system ways, right? Unfortunately, inside Korea, the law schools does not allow that kind of things, right? In America, the LSAT exam, right? Your LSAT exam, if you take it right now, the score is valid for about 5 years. So that in the meantime, like 3 years, you can, go to industry and then work, and then come back with that LSAT score, just apply for a law school and then try to become a lawyer. That's the flexibility of American system. Inside Korea, the law school LEET exam, it's just expiring immediately as far as I understand, so that there's no such thing as 5 years of validity or something like that. quite unfortunate. They have no idea about this kind of practicality. So that's what I don't like about it, but that's reality that you have to chew. So whether you want to become a lawyer inside Korea versus outside Korea, it's your choice. But if I were you, like if you can afford, but by the way, if you can choose, going outside is always better, right? The market is much better and they get paid much better. You know how the market, the size of the market determines your salary, right? Not your, of course you have to work hard and then being smart. Other things being equal, right? Equally working hard, equally smart. The issue becomes like, are you serving the bigger market, right? The pay, it will be proportionate to that. And that difference will be exponentially different. So if you try to pursue opportunities, outside is almost always better. Of course, given the COVID-19, this kind of pandemic situations and those new restrictions in health, I don't know how things will turn out, but that's pretty much, what I would suggest to you. Open your eyes, open your mind, right? The opportunities can come from everywhere. Anyway, so that's that. Chapter outline is something that is, self-explanatory. And then, so I'm going to talk about global trends in FDI and then the next ones in the next set of videos. So wait for that. Thanks for watching.